Okay, roll 'em. Howdy folks, Mark here from Bugsy's Dad Enterprises. Today I'm going to give you a little brief video of how to properly rebond this drive ring with the crystal for the clock. First step is going to be to get the old glass out if it's broken or something like that. What I do is I have a glass pie plate, and I put the old ring with the glass in it still face up like this, or with the gears up. Pour acetone over it. Get it just enough acetone to submerge it. Let it sit for an hour or two, and it'll usually pop right out. The old adhesive will be really goopy, if you like my term for that, goopy. It's best to try to wipe that off or scrape that off as much as possible, because after a few minutes of time in the air, it'll dry and be a real hassle to get out. Now once I get the glue off, I use the okay. What I use to clean this thing up with is this nylon bristle brush. I find it works a lot better than the metal brushes. The stainless steel would be the one you need. Carbon steel is not quite strong enough. And the big thing with this is it doesn't leave those little pieces of wire hanging around for people in the house that walk with bare feet, getting in their feet. And it's really unpleasant. So you can easily get it around this inside track here, this side and this side with this. And then when we flip over to the flat side, this is a little, you can use it, but it tends to fall off unless you're really steady. Then we go to this type of bristle. It's like one of those scrubby pads. I use the brown. That seems to work best. They got different colors. I forget what grit the brown is. I want to say it's 600, but I don't think that's correct. And that works just fine to get us a nice super polished surface here on this side. And flip over here and be especially careful there's no adhesive, old adhesive, stuck in any of these gears, because it's going to make a real problem for you when you glue it up and you miss it when it's in the clock. So let's start with the process proper here. Paper plates, I use tons of them on the workbench. It all works perfectly for me. Instead of making a big mess directly on the bench, it's easy to clean up. First item, wax paper. Nope, we aren't going to do any baking or cooking, but we are going to use it to make it a lot easier to extract this ring after we glue it up and it's set. So I just kind of press it down like so. Put it ring face up in here. And now the next admonishment for you. Never, ever, ever use anything but this 3M nitrile high performance rubber and gasket adhesive 847. It has to be this stuff. Never try to substitute any kind of super glue or Gorilla Glue, anything along those lines for this. This provides a strong bonding, but it also has a little bit of a rubbery give to it that helps this ring absorb the torque of the motor, turning it as it moves around, instead of, if it would be a solid connection, wouldn't be moving, you'd have it break off the glass. And we see a lot of clocks come in, but the glass is separated from that. And people have tried the super glue stuff, but in most cases, whatever's on there, even something else, the acetone will do the trick for you. So 847, and that's what we're going to start with. Now I'm going to stop here. I got to stand up so I can give you a better view of what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. I always have a paper towel handy and something so you're not scratching the glass while you're waiting around for it. Now, doesn't need much of this stuff. Slide down here and give our lovely camera person a chance to get in on it. Even there, I'm a little bit heavy. Now I like to kind of run it back and forth. Back and forth. Notice it's not really blobbed in that much. Back and forth a little bit. So on and so forth. You need to adjust your view. back and forth, right on around. And once I get around here, I'm going to show you, it's not all that much. It doesn't really take that much. One of the tubes of this stuff.
Well.
Okay, I use kind of a back and forth movement on this thing. And it leaves a pretty, you'd think it's going to be thin, but I want to show you something. Once I put the glass down there, you get it. It's not going to be all that much. You got to snap this stuff kind of away quickly, so it makes it all big old spaghetti strings there and you can't get it out. Now, here we have our glass. All nice and cleaned up, ready to go. It's got a little chip on it. This is no problem because it's covered by the edge. I'm going to get that down. And all we're going to do is lay the glass in and drop it into place. Now you'll see along here, see how the glue is spread out? It didn't take all that much. So when I start putting pressure on it evenly as possible, it's going to spread out. You see it's covered, pretty well covered, the entire flat portion of that. And then the last thing we're going to do is put a little bit more pressure on it and try to turn it just a little bit. That makes the last smear. And then we can look around here again and see this is well glued. It's covered. We got, this is where we get here. If we had too much, this would be out to here. It'd be a real mess. 4 or 5 times doing it the first time for me, I had to learn that lesson. Now, the last portion is going to be, the last part of this little exercise, simple. I'm going to put another piece of wax paper down. Roll. Here we go. We are cooking. We got pinto beans here, habichuelas pintas, Spanish speakers. Gonna put this just inside. I don't want to ruffle the gears, but just inside. It's gonna give us a little more even weighting, and then again, as even as possible. A couple good pushes down. There you go. Give this at least 24 hours to cure. 48's even better. A warmer place is even better because a lot of the factories, when they use it, they heat cure this. But we don't need to do that for our purposes. So that's about what it takes to rebond the glass and the gear ring. Mark and Bugsy's Dad. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching.